Hello everybody, and today I am going to be doing a Christmassy gift guide type video. Today I am mainly going to be recommending books. I'm also very aware of the fact that the light is leaving me. It's only 10 to 3 in the afternoon, but it looks like it's going to get dark any minute now, so I'm really rushing to hold on to every bit of natural light I can get. So first things first, I just really quickly want to recommend a book that I haven't read yet, but it's a book that I want, so I think it would be a really nice gift. It is called Christmas Days by Jeanette Winterson, and it is a collection of short Christmassy stories. It's a beautiful edition. Like I say, I haven't read it, but I want it, which makes me think that it's a good present to give. On the theme of Christmassy type books, Carol Ann Duffy's Christmas poetry. Ever since I did her at GCSE, I love her poetry, and she has a really great range of Christmas literature out there. My personal favourite is The Christmas Truce, but she's also done one called Mrs. Scrooge. She's done one called The King of Christmas and Another Night Before Christmas, and they're only short but very sweet little hardback books. I do have some around, but they're in my wardrobe somewhere. It's very easy to read, so they are sort of good gifts for anybody, nice sort of stocking fillers, and they are just really sweet little poems. There's also a lot of Christmassy themed chick lit at this time of the year, and I don't read an awful lot of chick lit, but I have read a couple over the past few years that I really enjoyed. The first being I Heart Christmas by Lindsay Kelk. She has a range of books called I Heart Vegas, I Heart Paris, I Heart London, that sort of thing, and this one's I Heart Christmas, and it's so cheesy in the way that chick lits are, but it's a really nice Christmassy read, and it's great for people, I was going to say mums, but that's a bit of a generalisation. Another book I really enjoyed was Christmas at the Cupcake Cafe. I love these sort of chick-litty not recipe books, but they're like fiction books with recipes in them. Christmas at the Cupcake Cafe is another great one. It does have recipes in there that you can use to go along with the fictional story that it's telling, and it's just a really nice book. There's also a couple of Christmas mystery books out that I've read a couple of. Mystery White by Jay Jefferson and A Silent Night by Martin Edwards, and these are Christmassy stories that aren't fluffy and nice and heartwarming like the chick lits are. These have a more sinister turn. Especially at this time of year, I think you could curl up with it by the fire, and the mystery is so good to read at this time of year, and I think they are the perfect Christmas gift for that reason. The next thing I want to recommend is hardbacks. Now I have a couple of these, and they are beautiful. Everybody's seen them, but they do make fantastic presents for book lovers especially, and they are these gorgeous, what are they called? Are they, I know they're like leather-bound classics. They are really gorgeous. The attention to detail in these is amazing. The covers are always lovely. The pages are always coloured. The inside end pages are always lovely. And I think this would make a really good gift even if you aren't a book lover. I would love a sort of really nice fancy edition of my favourite book in this sort of way. I think it's just a really lovely gift. Also, if you live in the UK, or I think this is a UK company, TK Maxx are doing these really cheap at the moment. The last time I went in, I saw Dracula, The Count of Monte Cristo, Arabian Nights, and Pride and Prejudice, and a few others. So if you are interested in buying these sort of things, they don't have loads, but I did see a couple in there for quite cheap, so keep in mind. Another set of books for lovers of classics is books by the publisher Persephone. They're by women, and a lot of them people will have never heard of, so if you are unsure about buying a classic for somebody that you know has sort of read a lot of books, it's very unlikely that they will have read Persephone classics because they are the sort of underrated ones that nobody's really heard of. This one is The Montana Stories by Catherine Mansfield, and it's just a collection of short stories, but they are gorgeous. They feel really nice. I obviously can't translate that to you, but they're just completely grey, but then the end pages are always amazing. I just think these are really nice for people that love classics but have sort of read a lot of classics. Going along with beautiful sort of hardback books, another one that I really recommend you checking out is Angela Carter's Book of Fairy Tales. I think this is just the most beautiful book ever, and for people that enjoy fairy tales or short stories, or even Angela Carter as a writer, I think this would be the perfect present. It is so stunning, this cover, and I just think this is a really, really lovely gift. Another sort of cool and quirky book that I really love is Lost in Translation, which is by Ella Francis Sanders, and she actually has another book out quite recently. I can't remember the name of it, I'll have to maybe look it up, but it's in a similar style to this. What this is an illustrated collection of untranslatable words. So I'm sure I've talked about it on this channel before, but there is lots, as you can see here, of words that don't translate to anything, and they're all so gorgeously illustrated. Yeah, it's just a really sweet little book. It's a really nice sort of coffee table book, I find, for people that maybe don't read so much, which I'll go into later. But I just think it's really, really beautiful. Another sort of book that you can't particularly read, but it's still nice to receive. I actually got this as a gift, as a Christmas gift in fact, last year off a friend of mine. And it's a really sweet gift, and it's called The Novel Cure. This is a book that basically it's sort of a joke parody book, but at the same time I found a lot of books through this, so it's not actually that jokey in a way. It's supposed to be a sort of medicine book, and you would maybe go to it with a headache or something, and you would look in the H section. I need to bloody find it now. And underneath the little title, it recommends you a book, a summary of the book and why you would want to read it, if it's how it relates to that particular injury. So in terms of men, I always find them really difficult to buy books for. Again, I'm generalising, but the majority of my male friends and my male family don't particularly read. My brother has a Kindle and he does like to read, but he's just like a casual reader. My dad, I've never seen my dad with a book. He really enjoys like coffee table books, like books surrounding films and things like that. He loves annuals, but he's never read a book. I do have a couple of suggestions that they would like, and the first being The Geek Cookbook. Now this sort of goes hand in hand with they need an interest in cooking, which I understand, but I also think it's a really cool present. What it is basically a recipe book full of recipes that go along with a particular fandom, but I just think it's a really cool idea, something a little bit different. So if you do know somebody that does enjoy cooking and enjoy sort of TV, and it's sort of something that they can use and still have a laugh with at the same time, then I definitely recommend it. I think it's a really cool idea. Another book I think is really cool that is also Christmas themed is a book by Mark Forsyth, A Christmas Cornucopia, and that is Hidden Stories Behind Our Yuletide Traditions. A book that I think somebody who loves Christmas, that doesn't particularly read or likes to just flick through books, would quite like. The sort of behind the scenes of Christmas, basically, where we got our traditions from, why we do what we do, and I think it just sounds really cool. In fact, I would probably enjoy this because I love Christmas and I love learning about why we do daft things. In terms of graphic novels that you can buy people, I'm going to sort of keep this very short and sweet because I feel like I could be here all day with graphic novels. The first being Invincible Iron Man. This is a graphic novel that's come out not so long ago, I don't think, but it is really good. Really funny. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this because I don't enjoy Iron Man that much. If I'm going to read a comic book about a particular hero, it's usually been maybe Spider-Man, something like that. It has a lot of humour in it. I mean, you can tell it's been written after the films have come out. There's definitely a lot of Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in this book. It is a really good place to start for somebody who maybe doesn't read graphic novels but enjoys the Marvel films or superhero films in general and wants to maybe get into reading comic books and things like that. It's a really nice starting point. You don't need to have done lots of previous reading, so I just think this is a really nice idea for a present. So along the same sort of superhero lines, I also got this massive book called The Joker, and this is a great book if you... I do love these kind of books. You could get them very cheap at, well, if you're in the UK, places like The Works and stuff always do these really cheap. His introduction into the comic book, some traditional comic book panels there from when he first appeared. It also looks at stuff like the animated series as well, and the sort of behind the scenes that went on with that. So I think this is a really nice sort of collectible item to have if they do sort of collect comic book. A graphic novel that I also love is Persepolis. This is by no means an original recommendation. Everybody loves Persepolis, but I actually read this a lot of years ago because we had to watch the film in my GCSE film class and it was brilliant, so I decided to buy the graphic novel. So it's always been sort of one of my go-to graphic novel recommendations just because it is so brilliant. And then another book that is sort of possibly more male themed, but generalising again, is An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Chris Hadfield, and I read this last November for No Fiction November or whatever it's called, and I loved it. I've seen him being interviewed on TV and things, and it's really fascinating listening to him talk about space. I think anybody would like to read this. I don't think you need a particular love of space. I think if you did have an interest in space or science or anything like that, I think it's really worth reading. I think it's a very enjoyable read, it's a very easy read as well. I have a couple of gifts here that are sort of more about doing and drawing and things like that rather than actually reading. The first one is 642 Tiny Things to Write About, and it has lots of ideas for writing exercises that you can do. They do so many versions of this as well. There is a drawing one, I think, but I got the writing one. There's so many little scenarios that you can use, and it just sort of gets your juices flowing a little bit. It's just a really nice yet productive way of spending your time, and I just think they're really cute and really different. Another similar book is Live This Book by Tom Chatfield. In a similar vein to Wreck This Journal and things like that, it has lots of different typography and pictures and things, and lots of different exercises that you can join in. So there's a sort of thing here where you can fill in the blanks. There's stuff about significant news stories. There's an exercise here where you have to write down things about yourself. For example, I have a talent for my greatest fear is, but you can't write down anything that's true, to sort of challenge what you think about yourself, and it just has a lot of cool ideas, and I just think it's a really nice present. Again, it's something with somebody who's a bit creative. And of course I also recommend colouring books because they are all the rage, and I have about 100, so I can't show you all of them, but one of the ones I love is my Marvel colouring book. It's absolutely massive, as you can see, and it is in French. I think I got it from Amazon. But really, I mean, all that's in French is that little bit there. But I mean, really, it doesn't make any difference because it's all pictures. It's just really cool pictures to colour in. A lot of the time I find with these comic books is, not comic books, colouring books, is that, like, this, for example, is really difficult to colour in because, I mean, there's so much going on. With stuff like this, it's really easy to colour him in. Yeah, I just think this is really cool for somebody who likes comic books, and just something, again, that's a little bit different. So those are just a few ideas of books that you can give this Christmas. I don't know how long it's going to be, so I apologise if it's like hideously long. I do plan a part 2 of this, so let me know what sort of gifts you would like to see. I will try and link all the books that I mentioned down in the description below. As ever, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next festive themed video. Yay!